What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to navigate the current landscape of the metaverse markets. We've got a ton of different options that are all over the board on where you can go to buy metaverse NFTs. Essentially, if you're trying to buy some metaverse land, where do you go? I'm going to cover that. I'm going to show you where I usually go when I'm shopping to try and get the best price and the biggest, widest view of all of the options that are currently on the market. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of NFTs to try and dig through. We're going to be talking about the other side metaverse today, and I'll kind of break down some of the things that maybe you would want to go shopping for when searching for other side metaverse lands. But essentially there's like just a ton of stuff. There's like location, there's, different bits and pieces that are on lands that are like, okay, they're hard to sort through. They're hard to pick, are you getting the best price? Is there something cheaper that's comparable out there? You just don't know. And so I'm going to show you kind of what I use, to dig through the mess, essentially, which unfortunately it is definitely a mess right now. But I'm going to show you what we got. We've got different marketplaces. We've got different marketplace aggregators. We also have liquidity pools and then some community tools that I think are really beneficial. Currently you kind of have to use a combination of a couple of them, but there's some that are better than others, and we're going to dig into it. So first off, let's get started. We're talking about the other side metaverse. If you're not familiar, it's the metaverse that's being created by Yuga Labs. They're calling it a meta RPG or a role play game. So essentially, as of right now, we don't know a whole lot. We know that there's different environments. You're going to have different characters coming in, playable from different projects. You got Cool Cats, CryptoPunks, Cryptodes, Meebits. All these things are going to be a part of it. So basically, though, what is it when you're looking at an other deed? What is it? Currently, it's a deed to a land that you'll essentially own in the metaverse when it gets released. And so this picture right here on their website kind of breaks it down the best. It shows like there's different things that represent what characteristics your land has. So this card right here is a deed, and essentially you've got some descriptors at the top. You've got these dots, tier rarities, depicted by the dots here. You also have like the name of the land, of the environment, and the sediment type. So environment would be like this red atmosphere kind of thing. Sediment is this blue sparkly thing underneath. Resources they're on 4 different quadrants: north, south, east, and west. And then you get a breakdown down here saying, oh, you've got 3 points of Oblivion, 3 points of Bohemia, whatever, etc. And then there's also on the left side there, on the top, there's Artifact, and on the bottom, there's Coda. So when you go to the marketplace and you're like, I want to find a XYZ land with this resource, like, it's impossible. Like, honestly, it feels like it is a massive challenge to even dig through, like to even know what it is you're digging through. And so first things first, let's just go ahead and dive into the most widely known marketplace for NFTs, and that is Opensea. And so we're going to go to the other side collection, and I will show you kind of what I'm talking about. Basically, you come down here and it's like, okay, you've got prices, you've got the deed number, and then you've got a whole bunch of these cards, a whole bunch of sorting tools that you can use. Usually I'm using price low to high when I'm kind of digging in different aspects. But then, you have some other things here, like you've got a search bar if you know exactly what it is you're searching for. Like, I want some dimensional resource. It might load. It might not. This is one of the drawbacks for me that I found using Opensea, is that this search bar is nice, but it doesn't quite cut it for me. It's like it gives you the floor prices across the north, south, east, and west, but you could find better prices out there on other marketplaces. Right now, that usually ends up on Looksrare or Blur, and so it's just kind of like, it's great, but it doesn't it doesn't give you the full picture, because if you go into this, you don't know, is that a tier 3, which in this case it is. This is a tier 3 dimensional on that Western resource there. So then it's like, okay, is this the floor price for tier 3? Is this one a tier 1 over here for 21.8? Oh, wait, hold on. I got too many. Yeah. So then you got filters that get stacked on top of each other. It gets messy. So 21.8 here for this one, the southern resource of dimensional. So then it's like, okay, well, if I was like dead set on buying dimensional, I don't know. Long story short, I'm not going to get into price or kind of anything like that, because it gets dense in speculation pretty quick, because we're still lacking some information at this time. But what I'm trying to say is like, if you know exactly what you're searching for, you can use the search bar, and that kind of helps. But there's more to dig into. So usually buy now is the way to go. I don't ever really see NFTs go on auction, but I guess if you like wanted to find ones, these are usually ones that have like a lower listing price, but they'll be like, oh, the reserve price isn't met, so you're not going to be able to sell. You're not going to be able to buy it for 0.1, so you're kind of wasting your time. But essentially, we got the buy now sorted low to high. The other one I usually use sometimes is like recently sold. So you can kind of like go in and be like, okay, I'm looking for that dimensional resource. Let me just let me just show you. It's easier that way. I go into the dimensional resource, and then I'm like, okay, I'm looking for dimensional. I'm going to get rid of the buy now, and I'm going to apply the recently sold. And then we can kind of see down here, last sale, 15, 7, 43. That's got an artifact, a code on it. So, it's got a whole bunch to it. So it kind of gives you an idea of like, what have these deeds gone for recently? It's not the total picture, because it doesn't include pricing from other marketplaces, but from people that have bought deeds on Opensea, it's a great indicator. So it might give you some insight to, hey, maybe I don't want to buy, what was it? This one for 29, because 29 is way too much. The last sale was at 15. There's not a lot of supply, so the prices could get blown out of proportion really quick, and you don't want to overpay. So I'm going to skip this section. You can sort by price if you want to, and currency. You'd be like, oh, I only want to buy an ape coin. Well, there you go. You can search by ape coin. So then we get into the mess of it here, and this is where all the problems lie. This artifact ? Filter is probably the nicest, because it's like, okay, just get rid of all the noise. I just want to see lands that have an artifact. And so that's going to be lands that have a little thing in the middle. So like we have the banana, we've got the tool, the shovel there, some more bananas, a pickaxe, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the best filter either, because there's different supplies. Like the most common artifact is the ancient coin. There's 1,000 of them. And so that one is likely to be kind of lumped in with some of these with a higher supply, 900, 750, whatever. I mean, like that's a bunch. So then it's like you can kind of like break those into smaller subgroups if you wanted to be like, hey, artifacts that have this amount of supply are kind of trading at this amount. Artifacts that then kind of break into the 500-ish range might be in a different kind of ballpark. So like, campfire, superbox, monkey barrel, jar of farts, celestial orb. See, these are a little bit more expensive, and that's because, well, let me make sure we're looking at the right thing here. Hold on. Buy now. So yeah, I mean, a little bit more expensive, but maybe not that much more than if it was just the floor artifact. But essentially, you can go through and you can spend a lot of time trying to figure out how are you going to search for these different artifacts. and yeah, and try and track them, because that's the only thing you can do. Either that and go look at historical data is about as good as it gets. So then we have a similar thing that happens when you go to look for codas. We've got like a coda question mark. There's the yes, no. So that's fantastic. You can break it up into only codas, and that's these little creatures that are on some of these lands. There's only 10,000 of them. Now, the next kind of breakdown there is you've got codas, but then there's codas with weapons, and those are a different floor price because there's less. There's only 3,000 that have weapons, so they usually trade for a little bit more of a premium. And so you could be like looking at some of the codas with weapons. So you got those filters there: coda, yes, no; weapon, yes, no. And then you can break in. Well, there's mega, yes, no. There's 100 megas, and so those are the fancy ones that are super expensive. But you can dive in deeper, and you can like sort by the weapon type. You can sort by what kind of head feature the coda has, what kind of eyes, the core. Does it have clothing is another one, but nobody ever really seems to care about clothing on a coda right now, so it's kind of irrelevant. But a lot more have clothing, so they trade closer to just the regular coda floor sometimes. And then, so that's artifacts and codas. Then we have all of the environments, which there is a ton of environments, and they all vary in different quantities, all the way up from chaos that has a very limited supply of 111, then acid at 1402, and then it kind of just goes down from there. You get more and more and more as they become more common, all the way down to bog, which is kind of your run-of-the-mill kind of land. But then you can sort the environments by tiers, but unfortunately, like the environment filter for tiers is like all the way down at the bottom. So it's like, I don't know, it's all over the place. Environment tier, like maybe I want to look for only tier 5 environments. Well, you can do that, but then, you can stack that with the other environment filter. Do you get the point yet? How this is like just slightly a pain, and how it makes it like extremely not discoverable. So anyways, that's where things like this search feature comes in handy. Once you've like studied all of the traits and all the characteristics of other side deeds, you can really dive in, get in the weeds, and start to really dig through and try and find undervalued lands that you may want to purchase, and that kind of thing. So anyways, that's Opensea. That's like the go-to for most people. That's like the entry point, the gateway into NFTs is usually through Opensea. I'm not going to get too much more into the other platforms, but that kind of breaks down what we're looking at when we're talking about, okay, sorting through other deeds. Like, what is the hassle? Well, hopefully that illustrates and didn't bore you too much, but kind of shows you what the hassles are when you're trying to dig through these deeds. So another platform is Looksrare. Similar kind of setup as Opensea. It is a competitor, but not nearly as much market share. I don't think. Not right now, anyways. It did at some point. Same filters, same whatever. We didn't get into it either too, but there's also sediments that you can sort by. You've got the biogenic swamp, which is the Bored Ape sediments. You've got the chemical goo. So it's the same stuff, right? You can go through. There's a bajillion different filters, and it's just a lot. Then on top of that, we have the official ApeCoin marketplace that was put forth by the ApeCoin DAO, and then it was voted on and implemented. So similar kind of setup. This, though, is breaking into marketplace aggregators. So as you can see here, we have the little Looksrare symbol. Some of these may have a different symbol, like the pseudo swap symbol or Opensea over here. We also have X2Y2, and that's one that I left off my list, x2y2.io. It's just another place you can go. You'll notice a theme between Looksrare, like this one. You see this like no Opensea symbol. Usually, if an item had been compromised, Opensea is the strictest about trading assets. In that sense, it's like the least decentralized. In Looksrare, you don't have that issue. You can buy and sell items that are flagged, but you're not going to be able to sell them on Opensea. Similar with X2Y2, it has a similar functionality, but essentially same thing. It's like a different UI, same filters, nothing too crazy. And I believe this doesn't pull in. Yeah, X2Y2 doesn't pull in listings from other marketplaces. So we're going to break down some aggregators now. So the first one that we talked about was the official ApeCoin marketplace. Pulls in listings from all over the place, puts them in one place, and then you kind of have those same filters. So that's like a good start to breaking down the different lands and trying to find what it is you're looking for. Another one which doesn't get much traffic at all is the Coinbase NFT. It's a aggregator as well, I believe. You can see here it's got the best price is from Looksrare. So it's just pulling listings from other marketplaces because it's all on chain. So it's able to do that. Gem used to be, or maybe still is for a lot of people, the most common or the most popular aggregator. This was kind of like my break into aggregator, NFT marketplace aggregators. I really liked it to start. It was doing really good things. We were kind of hoping they were going to do a token. They ended up getting acquired by Opensea, so that's just out the window. But yeah, similar thing. It's got the flagged on Opensea symbol, reported for suspicious activity. Similar filters. It's got a similar search feature. So like if you wanted to find that dimensional resource, you can do it, but it doesn't give you the data right from the jump. So you'd have to click in to be able to find it, which 15, that doesn't quite add up. Maybe that was a stale listing. Oh, it was bought 21 hours ago. So that's like one of the issues with aggregators is like sometimes they're not like 100% on the money. So like if you proceeded to like purchase this, which I don't have funds in this wallet, so it's not going to let me do it. If you tried to purchase it, it would kick it out and be like, you can't purchase this because it's not available, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, then another aggregator is Blur, but we'll get into Blur in a second. I want to talk about NFTX first. NFTX is kind of like a liquidity pool. Essentially, there's a whole bunch of NFTs that are in the pool, and if you have a deed, you could swap it out for any ones that are in that pool. And you click on the info tab and it kind of tells you some information there. If you were to buy, it would cost 2.49. If you were going to sell, you would only get 0.98. If you wanted to swap, it would cost 0.09. And yeah, so essentially liquidity, some of these pools can be really powerful. Sometimes like this one's not looking too hot. That's like a huge spread between the buy and the sell. So I don't know. Sometimes when you're purchasing them, you'll be able to pick it up through Gem. So like, let's see, Gem, Marketplace, you could click on the NFTX, and it would let you search through all the NFTs that are in NFTX, and you just add them to your wallet, and you just check out like normal. That is the power of marketplace aggregators, is that, you can pull from different places. You could be like, I want one from here, and I want one from Opensea, and I want one from whatever, and you click one button. Well, there's a bunch on the floor farming looks rewards, but anyways, maybe I'm not going to show you. Anyways, you can add them all to your cart, and you can check out in one go. And then, it's much nicer than trying to like go and submit individual transactions and yada yada. So let's get into Blur. This is like the elephant in the room. This one I've been waiting to talk about because it's powerful. It's also not perfect because all of them are great in certain ways, and they're all like not perfect, but by far right now, lowest prices I have found are usually on Blur. The only issue is like it doesn't have a search. So like if you wanted to go through and find the dimensional resource like I was talking about earlier, the workaround that I've found for that would be to go through, open up all the tabs. So Southern resource, Western resource, Northern, Eastern, whatever. You can go in and type dimensional, whatever, fantastic. But like what I prefer to do is I usually like have a list of things that I'm looking for. I'm usually looking for like dimensional, maybe some of the chaos resources like void, omnia, whatever. So like I might go like, okay, I'm looking for omni. And then I'll just use the command F. It'll pull up the 4 options, and then I can just quickly go through, see the floors there on Opensea at 22. Floors 5 here on Opensea, and I'm just going through, and it's just kicking me to the next one in the list, and then there, okay. See, like you wouldn't have been able to find this one on Opensea or on Gym. So if you were looking for Omni, which 2 points of I can't speak 2-tier Omni for 5 ETH, kind of interesting, maybe not. And then you can do the same thing for like void. So we'd be like, okay, 4.7, just command F and enter is what I use on my Mac. And you can kind of make your way around the different deeds and kind of try and find them. So yeah, that's what I use. That's what I'm currently using if I'm shopping. Usually because you'll find the cheapest items currently on Blur, and that's just because the fee structure is significantly lower. I'm not going to advocate for or against, selling your items with or without royalties. That's up to the seller side. But as a buyer, I just want to buy the best price deed that I can. So I go to Blur. Currently, this is not an advertisement for Blur, but it should be at this point. But yeah, it's the same thing. Same filters, same whatever. It's just how can you navigate them and how can you see the cheapest price across all of them. So, the last thing I really want to wrap up on is community tools. And one that I find to be quite useful is this otherside-wiki.xyz. There's a ton of good stuff getting put into this. It's kind of got different aspects of like aggregators, but it's also got cool things like wallet inventory. So if you wanted to say you had a couple of deeds and you wanted to analyze what all your holdings are, you can connect your wallet and you just add your wallet here, you don't even have to connect it, sorry. You just go in, copy and paste your wallet address, and it will let you know what you got. So here, we'll just go ahead and throw mine in there, 3593. We will see what we've got. So this is my wallet address that has some of my deeds in it. I've got 1 biogenic swamp, 1 chemical goo, sediment, and 1 cosmic dream. It looks like I have 1 that's got ruins, but that's not my actual land. Those are just displaying the tier 5 as like the display image. So I've got 1 decay, which is a ruins. I've got 1 spirit land, which is the steeps, 1 volcanic, which is obsidian. Let's see what else. I've got vapor haze. Oh, I do have vapor haze. That's on my Bored Ape land. Then I've got some other resources. I've got some shard resources, some root, some ore. I don't have any anema, so that's an issue. I've got no artifacts there, which are the 1 of 1s. I've got no tools. I've got no pets. I do have other, so like potions and whatnot. I've got coda farts. I must be in the wrong wallet because I have. We will see. Let me just load them both. Why not? Add wallets. I don't know what. Okay, here we go. This should show, yeah, okay, I've got 4 coda farts. I've got my 1 coda. So anyways, cool, right? Like, I mean, you may as well be using these community built tools because, it's here to try and help fill in the gaps that the current marketplaces completely lack. You're not going to be able to get a breakdown like this to show what you're holding just by using Opensea or whatever you're viewing your NFTs in your wallet. Okay, the one feature that is kind of nice, but is not perfect either, is the browse feature. You've got a different kind of set of ways to view the different filters. So like we can do environment tier 5, and then you could come down here and be like, I want to look at chaos. Okay, fantastic. Maybe I want acid instead. And then it'll show you, hey, there's one over here for 9.1 listed on, whoops. Oh, crap. I lost it. Acid land for 9.1, and you click the little button and go to the listing. So it's not perfect either because it doesn't cover everything. Currently, there's no way to go to like a landing page. So like the way that we click this button here and like you can view the page, you can't do that on Blur. So like what's listed is like, it's just what's listed. And if you click the button, it'll take you to the source, but you can't open up like a product page for this listing on Blur. Well, I guess for a Blur listing. Yeah, no. See how that doesn't do anything. But like if you clicked the other one, it takes you to Looksrare. And it's just that deed on that one page with the ID number and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, you can't do that. So that makes it impossible to add it to this kind of feature. So hopefully Blur updates their stuff. And then like this would probably be my go-to tool because then you would have everything in one place. And that's honestly, that is what we need. Something that makes it easy to search for everything in one place. But yeah, there's tons of options. You got marketplaces, you got NFT pools, you've got NFT aggregators, you've got, all sorts of stuff. Did I talk about this one? This is another aggregator. It was previously Genie. Uniswap acquired them. And so now you can, there's another, if you're swapping some tokens on Uniswap, you can flip over to their NFT tab and look at some deeds. But yeah, I don't know. But anyways, guys, I hope that was helpful somehow, somewhat. Maybe you kind of have like a little bit more of a perspective on like the different possibilities that you can utilize when searching for other side lands or just metaverse lands in general. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.